In an earlier lesson, we built this intro title. Now, lower third titles are created pretty much the exact same. However, you may have a few extra layers of text. So let's create a lower third title, for example. Okay, so let's get started. Another way to create a title quickly, instead of going to title, new title, and default still, is by simply pressing Command T. From here, you can name your first layer in your lower thirds. This one can be called Will. And then we will go to our type tool. We will call it Will. We will make sure that it's selected. We will change it to the font we want to use. We will roughly put it in the spot. Okay. Then it was created right here. Then we will create another one, Command T. We will call this OVC Masters. And we will do the same thing. And because my timeline cursor is over this one, we can see the preview of that. Let's call this OVC Masters. Okay, so let's make sure that's selected. Once again, change it to the font we want to use. We will bring it underneath. We will lower the size a little bit. Okay, then we will drag that one down here. We will go back into the Will one by double clicking, and then if we wanted, we could add a last name to make it fit a little better. Okay, then we'll go back into the OVC one by double clicking. Now because Will is above it, it's not going to show it, so in this case we'd have to do that, and then it would show up. So OVC Masters. Okay, now I don't think that looks too great, so instead what we'll do is we'll play around with it a bit, we'll lower it, we'll play around with the kerning, maybe change the color, make it like a blue. And okay, so that's good. We'll go into the Will one. We'll change this color too. Okay, and then from there we will create a new color matte. We'll create it like an off-white. Call it off-white. Then we'll place that inside our titles. We'll put this one inside titles, this one inside titles, and then we will take our off-white one, we'll drop it below. So now it's covering the entire screen. On this layer, we will crop it so that it makes just a nice little border. In order to do that, we go into our effects panel, type in crop. We'll drag that down, and then we will bring that down to roughly, let's try there. We'll go to the right side, then we'll try the bottom, and maybe we just need a little bit on the outsides. Okay. Then what we can do is on this layer, we can go into opacity. We'll get rid of the keyframe so we don't have any keyframes. Then on opacity, we will drop it down just a bit so you can see a little bit of what's going on behind. We can try maybe 74, 75%. So now that is a basic lower thirds title. If we wanted to add a little bit of production value to this, we can select all of them, right click, go to nest, call it lower thirds title, click OK. Then we have this on one layer, and because it's a title, we'll label both of these white. And right now it's not doing anything. It's just sitting there. So to add some production value, we can animate it in and animate it back out. So this is on V4, so we will turn that layer on. Then we will press the up arrow to make sure we're at the very beginning. We will go into motion of this layer. We will create a keyframe under position, and 960 is the default, so we need to remember that number. So we will move it all the way off screen. You can see this starting to go off screen. We will keep going until it is all the way off. Then we will go with the keyboard on the right arrow, roughly, let's say 16 to 18 or 20 frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16, 17, 18 we'll try. We'll type back in here 960. Okay, and then we'll go to the very end. So in order to do that, we press the down arrow, and we'll have to go back one frame in order to show the last frame, because if we actually press the end, it isn't the final frame. It's actually the start of the next frame. So let's go to the end and then back one. So always at the end, if you want to see the last frame of this video, if you go to the end, it shows nothing because it's the next frame. So you need to press the left arrow to show the last frame. If we go to the beginning, you see the beginning of this because it's the very start of the frame. If we zoom all the way in, it's the very beginning. In order to show the last frame of this, we need to go back one. Okay, so in order to see the last frame of this, we need to press down and then back one frame. There it is. Now, because we've already created keyframes, we have 2 at the start. We don't need to worry about this anymore. All we have to do is continue animating. So again, we'll remember 960, and we will take this and drag it off screen again. And then we will go back once again, about 18 frames. By using the left arrow this time. And now we will type in 960 again to bring it back. That automatically creates a keyframe. So we have one keyframe where the animation is off screen, doesn't exist, even though it's the first frame because we've pushed it all the way off. Then we have this frame. If it wasn't highlighted, that means we wouldn't be on this frame. Okay, so at this second keyframe, we're back at the original position. So it animates in, and then throughout all this time, it stays there. And then from this keyframe, which is the same keyframe as this, they're just both set to 960. Then this one goes back to where it was before, all the way out. So let's watch what that looks like. Okay, so essentially to establish somebody speaking, you'd show the clip, have the person here speaking, and then you'd have this title to establish who they are. And this is known as a name title or a name key or a lower thirds title.